What are you doing? Get back over there. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy John from Project Ellsworth, and I am back with you today for episode 3 of Fright Flick Friday. It's way too much. Welcome to Fright Flick Friday. This is my series where I just briefly go over the movies that I watched this week, give you my thoughts on them, tell you what my favorite was this week, and tell you what my least favorite was this week. This week I got to 4 movies. I got to The Babadook, The Girl on the Third Floor, Terrifier, and The House by the Cemetery. So, starting off with The Babadook, that is a 2014 film where a little boy and his mother. The movie begins with the mother actually getting in a car accident and losing her husband while she's pregnant with the little boy. Like I said, she loses him. He dies in the car accident, and you immediately see that she's had a very difficult time raising this child on her own. He screams a lot. He obviously looks like he's got some sort of a learning disability, ADD or ADHD of some sort. And this little boy has a book in the house. It's a pop-up book called The Babadook, or The Babadook. Not exactly sure. I think it's Babadook, actually. It makes more sense when you... Never mind. The kid's got a pop-up book. He's very scared of the Babadook. He's afraid of this pop-up book. Eventually, the mother tears the book up, throws it away. The book shows back up, all put back together. But long story short, this little boy keeps telling her that he's seeing things inside of the house. The Babadook is in the house. So eventually she starts to go crazy. Things unfold. Whether or not we see the Babadook, you know where that's going. But overall, I thought this movie was pretty good. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, actually. It's one of my son's favorites. It's a movie that scared him more than just about every movie that he's ever watched. There's a few of them that have scared him, believe it or not. He's only 12. Most movies don't really scare him. This one scared him. I thought it was very, very well made movie. Very creepy atmosphere. The pop-up book in this movie is badass. Ben from Cadaver Club actually has a Babadook pop-up book. He sent me a link to the video the other day, and I checked it out. And if I can find it on his channel, I'll put a link to that below. It's awesome. He's got the book. It's exactly like the book that's in the movie. In his video, he reads through the book. Whatever. I'll put a link to that video below. It's awesome. Check it out. Go subscribe to Ben's channel. He's an awesome guy. Next up was The Girl on the Third Floor. This movie's only got a couple characters that you see throughout the movie, but I would say 90% of this movie, 85-90% of this movie, you only see one character, and that one character is CM Punk, also known as Paul Brooks. I don't know if you guys are wrestling fans. CM Punk was a wildly popular wrestler a couple years ago in the WWE. He left, he joined the world of the MMA, had 2 fights, got handled twice. Now apparently he's dipping his toe in the world of acting. This particular movie, CM Punk buys a house. It's a fixer-upper. Apparently he was in the banking industry or the insurance industry, and he defrauded a bunch of people, stole their money. He almost went to prison. He's basically just an adult problem child. And in this movie, he's fixing up this old house, and I don't know if he's seeing ghosts or what exactly is going on. It's never really fully explained. I have a pretty good idea what's going on, but if I tell you what that idea is, it's going to ruin the movie, which I don't want to do in these videos. He's screwing ghosts, he's fixing houses, he's seeing things. The house is bleeding, it's almost like seeping, like it's infected. You see like pus and ooze coming out of wall sockets and light fixtures. There are holes in the wall that actually almost seem to feel like flesh. It's pretty crazy. Some really cool practical effects in this movie. Some really crappy CGI in a couple scenes as well. But the practical effects are pretty cool. CM Punk, you can tell right away, this guy's an athlete, he is not an actor, but it's not bad. He doesn't do a bad job in the movie. He ain't winning no awards anytime soon, but, you know, hats off to him. I can't knock the guy. He's been a professional wrestler, he's been an MMA fighter, now he's in movies. I'm sitting here making YouTube videos, so I can't knock the guy. He's obviously doing something right. But yeah, The Girl on the Third Floor, I know I watched it on Netflix. I know it's out there. Check it out. It's actually a pretty good movie. Next up is Terrifier. This is something that I've actually been wanting to watch for a while. I just have not taken the time to actually sit down and watch the movie. I finally sat down and watched this movie yesterday, and it was awesome. This is a practical effects showcase right here. The main character in the movie is a clown, all in black and white makeup. His name is Art the Clown, if I'm not mistaken. And it's gory. The movie's really gory. It's awesome. The clown never makes a peep. I don't even think you hear a grunt or a moan. He appears to be laughing a few different times. You may hear it, but my memory's telling me you don't ever actually even hear this clown laugh. You hear nothing out of this clown. And he is an absolutely psychotic, brutal killer. This movie was fantastic. I absolutely love Terrifier. Not really a whole lot of plot here. It's just a serial killer clown who is doing exactly that. He's just killing people very violently, and it's brutal, man. There's a lot of blood in this movie. It is definitely not something I would recommend for young children. I let my kid watch a whole lot of horror movies, and I usually don't bat an eye at it. I'm not so sure that I would let my son watch Terrifier. There's some pretty grisly stuff going on in this movie. One kill in particular, you know what? I'm not even going to tell you. Watch Terrifier to find out. When you see the kill I'm talking about, you're going to know exactly which one I'm talking about. Awesome movie. Check Terrifier out. I watched that one on Amazon Prime. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. It used to be on Netflix. I know that it's on Prime right now. And the last movie that I watched this week was House by the Cemetery. This is a movie that I'm pretty sure that I watched when I was a kid. I'm pretty positive I watched it, actually. I remember the title of this movie. I've seen it for sale in FYE a couple times, but it's way overpriced. I don't want to buy it because the price is really sincerely outrageous in there. I think it's like $40 or $45 for this DVD. Nuts. Never going to do that ever under any circumstance. Am I going to spend that much money for a Blu-ray? Back to the movie. I remember this movie when I was a kid. Came out in 1981. I was 10, so I know I didn't see it in 1981. I believe when I got a little bit older, maybe as a young teenager, somewhere between 13 and 15 years old, I think I rented this movie. There are certain things about this movie that look very familiar to me. There's a little boy named Bob in this movie who looks incredibly familiar. There's a few images towards the end of this movie that also look incredibly familiar to me. But the plot of the movie I didn't remember at all. This is basically a family moves into a house. The house is, it's sort of haunted, but then it's not haunted. You see spirits talking to the little boy, but no one else. Then when they get into the house, there's something living in the basement that's obviously not a ghost. So it's kind of confusing. The movie starts out, I'd say within the first 2 minutes of this movie, I'm sitting there, I'm like, psyched because it feels like it's going to be really, really awesome. Then it wasn't for about 70 minutes, and the final 10 minutes of the movie were pretty darn good. But that 70-minute chunk right in the middle of this movie, well, not in the middle, most of the movie was kind of boring with a little bit of cool practical effects sprinkled in. It was directed by Lucio Fulci, so I thought it was probably going to be fantastic, but I just didn't think that it was. The first couple minutes and the last couple minutes were good, so I think the movie was 1 hour and 26 minutes, I think. And I would say 1 hour and 15 minutes of that movie were pretty damn boring. So I'm going to say my favorite movie of the week was Terrifier, because I've seen the Babadook before. I think the most well-made movie of the week for me was The Babadook. That's a fantastic movie. Very well made. Very atmospheric. It's awesome. You can feel the hair standing up on the back of your neck when you watch this movie. At least for me, it was that way. So if you haven't seen The Babadook, check that out. It's awesome. Very well-made movie. Terrifier would be my favorite of the week easily, though. Low-budget movie. Awesome practical effects. Really cool main character. The main character in the movie doesn't need to make a sound. This guy back here, he taught us that a long time ago. The main character doesn't need to speak, doesn't need to make a sound, doesn't need to laugh, sneeze, cry, nothing, giggle, nothing. The main character, Art the Clown in Terrifier, was fantastic, brutal, awesome. Least favorite movie of the week was, hands down, House by the Cemetery. I typically like old Italian horror movies. It's a very, very guilty pleasure for me. I love that stuff. I did not love House by the Cemetery, and I can pretty much assure you that I'll never watch that movie again. I was thinking about buying it. I'm glad that DVD was overpriced, because if it wasn't overpriced, I would have bought it, and I would have been more disappointed than I already am. So that's it for this week's episode of Fright Flick Friday. If you guys have any requests for movies that you would like me to watch and include in next week's Fright Flick Friday, please leave those comments down below. If you guys have watched these 4 movies that I reviewed this week, leave those comments down below. How did you feel about them? Do you feel the same as me? Do you feel differently? Leave all that stuff down below. I love the interaction with you guys. So I'm going to get out of here now. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you really like this video and you have been enjoying my content so far, please do me a huge personal favor. Click that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, have a kick-ass day, and thank you for watching. See you next Friday, folks.